As much as I love seeing big numbers on the books, we don't get any benefit from leaving it in the bank. Let's spend some of this cash.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 40 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. But we kick this episode off then with Carl reminding us that we should potentially spend some money now on the HQ, and I do agree with him. Now we are at a point where we have a lot of money, where we could spend a good 12 plus million and still have a decent amount over for the end of the season. At the same time, we had a durability upgrade that failed on the car, which is really annoying actually quite to see. We've had quite a few failures on the durability side, so I had to repurchase that. So that means, again, we don't really have too many R&D points to spend on upgrades, although there's a sizable amount of time till the next Grand Prix here in Japan. So we're going to get some resource points, obviously, through the activity timeline. And also, we've been told we're going to get a power unit update from Honda. So hopefully that's on the engine side. I think it is actually on the engine power side, because I think this time last season, we also got a fourth and final power upgrade on the engine from Honda. So that'll be quite a good boost for us versus Mercedes. Obviously, Red Bull, I would assume, would get that same upgrade. So against them may not be useful, but of course, we've been trying to struggle to try and match Mercedes and more so Ferrari. So hopefully that upgrade from Honda will help out. But as I mentioned, we do have money to spend, and we are going to spend it on resource point generation on the engine department and the chassis department, trying to get some more R&D points coming to the team. I would have maybe liked to have spent it on build time or fabrication and make one of these HQ facilities Spec 3, but all those upgrades are like 15 million to 12 to 15 million. That's a lot of money, and at this stage we don't actually technically need a Spec 3 facility because we're not being bottlenecked by the R&D tree. We've still got plenty of upgrades to go to keep up pace with the teams around us. So at this stage we'll leave Spec 3, we'll leave a purchase like that probably to the start of Season 3, when we get obviously a massive amount of prize money and we actually have a lot of money to blow at the start of that pre-season. Right now is not the right time for that, so just going for the point generation just to give us a bit more R&D points as we go on. And now I can say at this point in the season that will be useful, because I think we are going to keep on upgrading the car to the end of the season, because we're at Japan now and we're yet to see any sort of message from Carl about an R&D reset. So potentially it looks like we may not have a reset from Season 2 to Season 3. So it will be important to keep up the development race as we go on towards Abu Dhabi. And to that effect, you can see in the background here, we're going to go ahead and rush a development on a major brakes update. Under braking, we've been pretty poor in the last few episodes, especially versus Mercedes. We saw that, especially so at Russia, where we just got absolutely minced under braking so many times. So that will hopefully be a good upgrade. We've rushed it, so there's a 45% chance of failure, but if it does come through, it will come in before this Grand Prix. It will come in for Suzuka, which will be a massive plus for us. So we're going to risk it. It came through for us big time when we rushed those two major air updates early in the season, so I'm really begging our team can pull through and give us the good stuff. And by the time we get through just before the Japanese Grand Prix, it will come through. You can see on the left-hand side of the activity timeline. So really worth rushing the upgrade. So we've got that major brakes update on the car, and that will hopefully try and help us punch back a little bit against the likes of Mercedes and even Ferrari, with the added, obviously, the Honda upgrade coming through. Obviously makes sense. Good timing for their home GP, obviously, Honda. So hopefully those two upgrades in tandem can help us get back on track, because the last 3 episodes have been a little bit of a wobbly one. Ferrari have been dominating, but also Mercedes have been right up there trying to close the gap a little bit. And for the first time now, I feel like we need to be a little bit cautious on that gap that is there in the Constructors' Championship. Drivers-wise, not too worried still. There's still quite a good cushion to Hamilton, but Constructors-wise, Mercedes have obviously closed up. And with it looking likely that there's maybe no R&D reset for this season into next one, it's actually useful to then upgrade those two HQ facilities on the point generation, because then it'll actually be useful to maybe get some more upgrades on the car as we enter winter period, because obviously that's going to be an awesome period to upgrade. And obviously you have all this time floating about where you can make upgrades, and there's obviously still so long to go till that first race in Season 3. But just before then we get into the race weekend, we have a little email update from Carl, not about the R&D regulation changes, but about a big change in Formula 1 in terms of the driver market. Sebastian Vettel Vettel is announcing his retirement from Formula 1. So, we had Kimi Räikkönen retiring at the end of season 1, and now Vettel, another big name, probably a much bigger name really, from Ferrari, is retiring. Obviously, in real life, you have this kind of question mark of what Vettel's going to do. Will he go to Aston Martin or Racing Point as it's known right now? Will he retire in real life? Well, in the game, season 2, they reckon it's time to retire. So that's a big one. In the driver market, that's going to create a domino effect, much like when we signed Sainz from McLaren. That created a massive domino effect. I think this one could be even bigger because it's a team like Ferrari, so they're going to want to sign a massive driver to replace Vettel. So, they could go for a big name, one of the Mercedes guys, Red Bull, I don't know, maybe even, they might even come for Sainz, you never know, because we've upgraded Sainz quite a fair bit. So we'll see. That's going to be very intriguing at the end of the season. And actually, I'm gonna let you in a bit of an insight here. That kind of almost spoils my plan a little bit, because I had a thought in my mind that I was gonna change Sainz out. I wasn't sure who, but I wanted to definitely look at changing Sainz, because it's just nice to keep things fresh in this career mode series. And one of the options was gonna be Sebastian Vettel, because I had an idea of maybe bringing him to the team. We have a great car, and maybe try and revitalize him by improving him with the kind of teammate, training and whatnot, and try and see if we can, send him off with a bang, if it were, if he was going to retire the next season, but alas, he's retired one season too early for that plan. Oh well, gonna have to just see what we can do now. It's a bit more open-ended now of who I might sign at the end of the season 3, and I will be trying to open it up to maybe you guys suggesting any kind of ones you might want to see, but we'll leave that to the end of the season. Let's go on then with the rest of the race weekend into Japan. The R&D graph update, and Mercedes also upgrade, so it's actually very good that we upgraded, otherwise we may have been left quite far behind them on paper there. So they bring it seems like either 2 major upgrades or 1 ultimate upgrade, maybe, looking at the steepness of their improvement into this race. And then you've got Ferrari and Red Bull a little bit further back now, but obviously we've seen Ferrari have been on another universe. I don't know what's going on with them. None of you guys know what's going on. A few of you thought that Leclerc was 100 rated, but lo and behold, Sebastian Vettel went on and won the last Grand Prix. So I think it must just be the car that is insane, but I have no answers for why it's so good in the last recent races. But they've won 4 races in a row. Could they make it a 5th one? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. But we go into qualifying then, and we'll see if they've got the pace in qualifying at least. For us, though, we're just looking for a little bit less drama on a Saturday compared to how we have gone, and thankfully that is the case. We make it through into the second part of qualifying there. Sainz P10, myself P13. I had to do 2 runs on 1 set of soft tyres, so I didn't burn another fresh set, thankfully. But both of us not showing too much pace there, below the racing points even, so I'm hoping that's just Q1. We haven't turned up the wick. I certainly didn't, dial into the circuit a bit more straight away. Q2, that turn 1 was so much better for me. The nose was actually finally biting in a little bit more, so I don't know what that was really about. Maybe just the track evolution, obviously, just coming through, as we've seen that time and time again, sometimes with the Mercedes cars and the Ferraris even, and so hoping for a better lap time here in Q2 to try and show what we've got. But in terms of trying anything different, obviously Suzuka also, unfortunately, is not too bad on tyre wear. The last few Grand Prix of the season really aren't that bad until we get to Abu Dhabi, so there's not much point doing anything different in the tyre strategy. The only person that's gone different is Leclerc, so that may be a small advantage for him, because obviously he can pit later, so he might be in clean air, but for the rest of us, we've all gone soft tyres, so I don't know, maybe we're going to be, once again, no surprise that Leclerc might pop out, dominating this race if he's going to be going longer in the first stint, but the rest of us all qualify on soft, so we're all in the same strategy there. But again, we're a little bit low down the order, P8 and P9, so I really hope that this is just, the first 2 stages of qualifying, and this last part of quali we can, show up here, because we do need to. I mean, I'm not talking about against Leclerc or Vettel or the Ferraris, basically. We need to show up against the Mercedes guys, because they are now under 10 points. I think it's 7, wasn't it? I can't quite remember. 7 points, I think it is, between us in the championship, so we need this to be a good lap across the line, and it's P4, and it looks like we're only 2 thousandths behind pole position, or provisional pole as it is, and I don't know who it is. I think it must be Hamilton, surely, because Verstappen's P2, Leclerc P3 there on the top left ladder, with Bottas in 6th and Ricciardo lower down as we move through now into our second lap in qualifying. Vettel's dropped down Bottas and Ricciardo as he's qualified in P5, so I think that was his first run, so he's still got 1 more to go, but Hamilton there, you can see, pops in an even faster second lap for provisional pole. So I think he was already on pole, but he's improved his time. So we do need to improve, but we're only, a measly bit ahead there in the hairpin. Through Spoon, can we try and gain some time a little bit faster through the left-hander, the double left-hander, and we gain about a tenth or two nearly on the exit. So a cracking section for us there to maybe just do enough. That's how tight it is through the line. We hold through that 1.5 tenth advantage. And what is it going to be? Will it be pole? It is going to be pole position at the Japanese Grand Prix at the right time of this season. The crunch moment. They're 7 points behind us in the constructors. We needed to turn up the wick, and we've done just that. We've done it when we needed to. Got pole position ahead of Hamilton by a tiny margin there. I mean, even further back, it's still very close, even though Verstappen and Leclerc did not improve their times. But it's a front row of myself and Hamilton. Verstappen third, Leclerc in P4. Unfortunately, Sainz down in P8. I don't know what went on with him. As I said, in the last few episodes, he's been a little bit slower. So that's why I'm potentially thinking about a new teammate for the next season, because he's been great, don't get me wrong. But in traffic, and when it's gotten to the part of the season where the pressure's building, i.e. the last few episodes, he's not really performed as well as he has done before when the pressure was off and he's been in clean air. So that's why I'm kind of looking, season 3, we're going to look at our options. But anyway, getting away from that, I digress. Right now, here, season 2, we've done the job that we need to do in terms of the Drivers' Championship as well, because remember, we're still in a battle, even though we've got a cushion, still need to make sure we maintain as much as we can against Hamilton. But the race is going to be a different ballgame. Remember, Leclerc starts at mediums, and obviously last race, our race pace really wasn't there, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We've done it over one lap. Can we do it in the race? Let's see.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. A lap of this historic racetrack covers 3.6 miles, and it's the only time during the season that we race on a figure-of-8 racetrack. The drivers can expect some intense G-forces through the 18 corners on offer here as they experience some of the highest average apex speeds on the Formula One calendar. And keep an eye out for overtakes going into the final chicane. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, or trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. It's the owner-driver in pole position then, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Leclerc, Sebastian Vettel and Bottas, Ricciardo, Sainz, Norris and Daniel Kvyat, Albon, Gasly, Lance Stroll and Perez, Giovinazzi, Ocon, George Russell and Kevin Magnussen, Grosjean, Latifi, Matsushita and Jack Aitken. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
I say here we are then for the first time in a long while on the grid. No one ahead of us, just the safety car ahead of this Grand Prix. Strategy-wise, will be a one-stop from the soft tires to the hards. But I think the same will be said for Leclerc, from mediums to hard tires. Just the fact that this first stint, he'll be able to have that bit of clean air at the end of the stint and try and, just basically bang in the lap times once we've all pit. So that's going to be the only advantage he might see. Whether it pays out for him, it remains to be seen. But we're on pole, best seat in the house. And let's try and see if we can bring this home. We've not even been on the podium, let alone the top step in the last 3 races. So here we go then to 5 red lights to the Japanese Grand Prix, and we're underway. The lights were on for a short while, but we've got a great start using ERS then, going to the inside just to defend, just in case, but we've got Hamilton covered, and we maintain first place off pole position. Perfect start for us there. Hamilton second, Verstappen third, Leclerc in third, or no, actually, my bad. Actually, by the time we get to lap 2, he's down to P5 there. So the mediums, obviously off the bat, that will be the slower tyre to be on. But as we go on through this stint, he will have the advantage. As all of us on the soft tyres, the tyre wear kicks in, he'll eventually be the faster man by around lap number 6 to 7, especially so, obviously, once we all pit and we're in traffic. He'll be in clean air and could be quite dangerous, of course. But right now, Verstappen is the one that's at the purple lap time, actually. So the Red Bull looking a bit pouncy, even though it didn't really have a major upgrade, apart from the Honda upgrade we both received this race weekend. But as we go on through the next couple of laps, Hamilton is the one looking likely to make an overtake here as he pressurizes us into the chicane. We lock up on the front right, really tightens up our line of fortune and compromises our exit down the hill as we go on to lap number 6. Verstappen also, though, in the background, so he might be attacked by 2 cars here as Hamilton goes through on the left-hand side. Where's Verstappen? We're going to block him off. Hamilton's round. He's into P1, but we're going to get back down the inside. Hamilton squeezes us nearly off circuit. He tries to squeeze us off circuit. We have a massive tank slapper there. Just about caught the car. We are fully opposite lock through the right-hander. But Hamilton there fully just tried to force us off the road into the grass, even though I was fully alongside him, tyre wall to tyre wall. And instead, Verstappen is up into P2, as I think both of us had to drift through turn 1, because both of us kind of got sent either way, left and right, due to the contact and the oversteer as well. And now, speaking of Verstappen, he's the one looking likely to get into first place. He's looking very punchy, still got the fast lap of the Grand Prix. We go very wide at 130R to try and give him some room, and the car not feeling too great in that corner. Lock up, we're going to go for this switchback move, right to left, tighten up the corner and get a good exit down the crest on the left-hand side. Try and get the overspeed with ERS, but Verstappen has the DRS, I'm pretty sure. We do not, as he was obviously ahead at the detection point. But can we go sailing around the outside, slow it down? And yes, we can. Somehow, we've slowed down the car in time, and we're going to get that through on the exit, back up into P1. Good stuff, but yellow flags were behind me for some reason. And Valtteri Bottas is at the Grand Prix, and I've only just realised, where's Hamilton? He's not in the top 5. Have the Mercedes cars crashed? Have the Mercedes cars just hit each other? As Bottas is out, Hamilton, where is he? I don't know. But both of them are not in the top 5 anymore. That's a massive, massive development for not only us, but for the team in the championship. Here's the replay then. Here's what went on. Bottas looking to overtake Leclerc, this is then. Ahead of us, you can see me battling Verstappen. But Hamilton's nowhere to be seen already. Don't know where he is, but Bottas, no, it's just a straight-up power unit failure and a mechanical issue for Bottas, and he retires out of the Japanese Grand Prix. There we are then in first place, and that is where Hamilton is with an early pit stop then onto another set of soft tyres. What are Mercedes playing at? So Bottas is out. That was his issue. Hamilton, he's just gone for a very weird aggressive strategy. So we'll update you and see if that works out for him. I highly doubt it though. So Mercedes may have just shot themselves in the foot there. Meanwhile, back to the live race action, and Sebastian Vettel, the man who announced his retirement from Formula 1, is going down the inside and giving no room to Verstappen. Gets the elbows out and gets the job done up into P2. The lead Ferrari in second place here at the Japanese Grand Prix. So, like I said, he announced his retirement at the start of this race weekend, but he's looking very punchy as ever, Sebastian Vettel is, as he tries to now close up to us onto lap 8. We are going to come in. He does not. So this is our one and only pit stop though, remember, onto a set of hard tyres, but Vettel was coming at me at a rate of knots, I must say. So that Ferrari car, again, in some clean air, is looking very quick. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leclerc, once he gets in that clean air all to himself on medium tyres, I wouldn't be surprised if he just powers past us and jumps us. It's just something we have to accept, because that Ferrari car has just been godly in every sense. Corners, straight line speed, everything pretty much. So it's been very, very confusing. But Hamilton sets fast up for the Grand Prix behind us. So, I don't know, maybe his aggressive two-stop might work out for him, because he's going quite quickly, but he's going to have a lot of traffic to contend with. Meanwhile, for us, lap number 10, there is Vettel coming up for his pit stop. He's jumped us, but we're going to go roll the car through nice and easy, and there we go. Lovely little overtake there on Vettel. Obviously, that's how bad the hard tyres are out of the pit lane. That's how cold and unresponsive they are. That Vettel jumped us technically with an overcut, but we're able to just sail around the outside because our tyres have heated up and got back into temperature. So good stuff there to get ahead of one Ferrari at least. But as I said, I feel like Leclerc is probably going to jump all of us, and he definitely will if we're going to make mistakes just like that on the end of lap 11, getting on the curb twice. There's a massive tack slapper, gets through, the rear end steps out, and Vettel now has a good run onto lap number 12, as well as Verstappen there in the background as well. But the Ferrari man looking like the one to attack us more. 4 on the inside. We've got the racing line technically, but we're going to jockey for position. But Verstappen gets his nose in, and that kind of stops me from really attacking Vettel as much as I wanted to. And so in the end, we have to settle back and actually just give up the place and be down to P5. But can we just hang with him within 1 second and try and close back up to him? We may not have the full, downforce maybe in the corners or straight line speed, but the DRS is so powerful here. ERS as well. We've set a purple last sector, but Vettel gets fast after the Grand Prix. We're closing up on lap 13, but there is Leclerc. As I said, on the medium tyres, he goes on to a set of hard, so he's doing the same one stop as all of us, but the advantage he got was the fact he was running clean air. He wasn't fighting two of the cars like I've just done, and so he's jumped us all for first place in this Grand Prix, technically, once that last person pits who's yet to come in yet. But for us, we're going to keep the pressure on Vettel. We actually set 2 green sectors, so actually we are, these tyres are maybe coming to us a little bit. The track is coming to me, so Ferrari may be winning this Grand Prix by the end of it, but can we try and stop them getting a 1-2 potentially and get the second place on the road? Is eventually Gasly comes in, but here we go, the move on the right. We have to bang the wall as Vettel really did not want to give up the place on the right hand side, but we said no, kept to our guns on the right hand side and got through into second place. Vettel down to third, but he's still the man with the purple lap time. And don't forget Red Bull, they were looking pretty quick, although they are on mediums. Both Verstappen and Ricciardo are mediums, the rest of us are on hard tyres. So do Red Bull really have that such a little tyre wear that they can do this one stop on a set of mediums, or are they going for a 2-stop even? We'll have to find out, but right now as it stands, Verstappen is looking mighty quick. Around the outside he goes. Vettel to try and grab third place. Vettel fights back though as we go into sector 1. Ricciardo's also there now as he joins the party maybe. Verstappen will pull out. Those medium tyres will be quicker as it stands right now, but as I said, the question is, are they really trying a one-stop? If they do, they can't really afford to attack us too much, and if they aren't, then is it really, is there much point of us defending? And that's exactly what I'm trying to ask Jeff right now. It's not often I use the kind of, mechanic in the game where you can ask your engineer things, because most of the time I can usually suss things out, on the fly in my own brain, but I'm just trying to ask him and see if he can tell me maybe what tyre Verstappen's on in terms of it's an old or a new one, and if he's going to make another stop. He doesn't tell me if he's going to make another stop, but he does tell me it's a set of old medium tyres. So if it's old mediums, would that not suggest maybe he's going to pit again for new mediums, like if he's got a new set to do a 2-stop maybe? So it's a bit of a poor exit on the last corner, but on lap 17, 10 laps to go, I don't put up much of a fight here, because in my mind, I thought at this stage, okay, I think he's doing a 2-stop. If he's on old mediums, surely that means he's doing a 2-stop. So we've let him through. Well, not let him through. We just not fought him that much. I didn't use ERS. But we're going to stick with him and try and maintain this 1 second within DRS. We're going to do that despite a bit of a wobbly situation in Sector 1 that was. But green first and second sector. So again, chasing cars. I've got some good paces. It's just when I'm in clean air, I've got no kind of yardstick or thing to aim for, I guess. And I'm not as quick maybe at getting my head down. But Verstappen sets the purple lap time of the race weekend. But we are within 1 second. DRS open. Personal best lap time for us. And we go to the inside. It's so close to rear end steps because we hit the curb and the grass momentarily, but we get the job done and we're back up into P2 despite Verstappen being the fastest man on track. Staying within DRS and setting our personal best lap time is good enough for us. And lap 22 now, Leclerc is the one flexing the muscles, but then we go ahead. This is very confusing now. Maybe these hards are just, there's got ebb and flow of basically when they're going to rubber in, because we now go faster. So it's all kicking off here. We're all kind of, pushing each other for the fast lap of the Grand Prix as it stands, basically. Lap 24 then, we're within 2.3 seconds of Leclerc, so we are actually closing up to the race leader a little bit. So maybe, do we have half a chance of pressurising him? I don't know. Vettel's gone and overtaken Verstappen, by the way, and it looks like Red Bull are going to the end because it's now too late for a 2-stop. So the Red Bulls are trying a audacious 1-stop, and you can see it's not working out for them because they're now so much slower than Vettel, who goes and sets fast up the Grand Prix. And alas, by the end of lap 27, my tyres are feeling it very much so, especially on the front tyres, front left and front right. Leclerc now has extended the gap to over 6 seconds, so he's got the hammer down. He's now set a fast lap, so the Ferrari guys were just toying with me. They were saving ERS, I think, for the end of the race, basically, because Leclerc has just banged in the lap times at the end here. And the last lap of the Grand Prix, instead of pressurizing Leclerc, Vettel is pressurizing me on the last lap, just like Russia. Maybe are we going to have to defend here the last minute? Vettel gaining and gaining, but can we try and hold on and just ruin the party for Ferrari, ruin the 1-2 into the last chicane? We'll hold our way through, no lock-up thankfully, and we will hold it through, but Leclerc wins the Japanese Grand Prix. He's won his 4th race in 5 races, and it's 5 back-to-back in a row wins for Scuderia Ferrari in this part of this season. What are they on? What have they actually got? Because on paper, they shouldn't be there, but my word, have they been rapid.
They've done it then, here at Suzuka. A brilliant win on this beloved figure-of-8 circuit. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team's strategies. They got all of these things right today and the results speak for themselves.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
Well, there you have it. Leclerc looking happy as ever. Like I said, his 4th win in 5. Very impressive. He's put on a good CV, you know. Maybe, you know, Vettel's retiring. Do we go and maybe try and spoil Ferrari's entire Season 3 and try and nab their other driver for our own team? I don't know. He's putting himself in the shop window as a very, very good driver. And it could be an insane teammate battle if we were to sign him maybe Season 3. So let me know your thoughts on that. But Leclerc, monster. Ferrari, monster. We did manage to split them, though, so I'm quite happy about that. And Mercedes, well, let's talk about them. They had the opposite of Ferrari. They imploded. Bottas out the Grand Prix. I don't know what Hamilton was doing with that 2-stop. And so they've scored 0 points this episode. And look at this. Funny enough, it's not even Hamilton that's in the championship fight now. Leclerc, this entire season, they've been nowhere. Ferrari were never in the question of the fight for the championship. But now, after 5 amazing races, Leclerc has managed to claw his way into the championship fight. There's a 28-point gap there, so it's still quite a nice cushion. But I've got to be honest, with the way Leclerc's been driving, I'm actually quite scared he might close that up to us. So we might have a work cut out in the Drivers' Championship. The Constructors actually might be calmer now because of Mercedes' implosion. We've got, once again, a good cushion to Mercedes. And Ferrari as a team were so far back that unless they get 1-2s for the rest of the season, I don't think they'll be challenging us too much. So I think we're calm the Constructors now once again. But Drivers, Leclerc's momentum is quite scary, so it's by no means over in this Season 2. There's all to play for, and we've got this dark horse in the form of the prancing horse of Ferrari coming through at the end here. 5 wins in a row. Mamma mia, I thought Mercedes were going to have that this season, but no, it's Ferrari. Insane. Right, guys, if you did enjoy that Japanese Grand Prix, though, mega fight back, and I think we did honestly quite well to get 2nd place. That's pretty much best of the rest, because Leclerc, I feel like he was always going to win, probably, with that medium tyre strategy in clean air. So, kudos to him, but I think we did the max we could probably ask for. So, if you did enjoy it, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.